in Australia almost 4 years. They knew where he lived. He'd conformed to all identity checks, such as being fingerprinted at Victoria Barracks 2 years earlier. How about a New Year's Day arrest? Or letting it go for a week or two until after the Christmas break? Let alone the bigger question, why arrest him at all? My father had done his silly and misguided bit to direct enmity his way. You had to know him. He'd been interviewed by 2 security agents on the 22nd of December 1941, only 2 days before that ugly Christmas Eve. Also hovering over that interview, or perhaps even directing it, was the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor on the 7th of December 1941, which brought the war to the Pacific. No longer was the war far away in Europe. It was now right here, with its waves breaking over nearby Bondi Beach. The 2 security agents probed my father's allegiances and asked whether he regarded himself as a good German. There was an easy way out. All he had to say was how much he loved Australia and how much he hated Hitler, and how he had witnessed the militarisation of Nazi power in Germany and got out while he could. No need to fake that. It was all true. Instead, he insisted that being a good German was a precondition for being a good Australian. He had a point, but it was not worth making. Everything was lost, and the security agents fixed on the words, good German. Fate, in its mysterious convolutions, had landed my parents in Australia just in time for another war. They arrived in Australia in early 1938, with only a year of freedom before Prime Minister Menzies declared war against Germany on the 3rd of September 1939. That was soon followed by the National Security Aliens Control Regulations 1939 that created enemy aliens out of all migrants from countries that were now at war with Australia. These regulations made enemy aliens out of German, Italian and Japanese, some of whom had been in Australia for many years. Worse still, Australian women married to enemy aliens lost their British nationality under the Nationality Act 1920 and suddenly became enemy aliens. The regulations covered every aspect of the lives of its enemy aliens. Now they were stateless and without citizenship rights. They and their families were registered with restrictions placed on employment, travel, transfer of property and ownership of cars and radios. Only English was allowed in public places and on the telephone. My parents had left Germany in 1933 to begin a new life in Shanghai. One reason my father left Germany that year was that he had fought in the First World War and wanted no part in another. He was also an architect interested in public works that were being shelved in favour of weapons during the militarisation of Germany under Hitler. The second reason was that he'd fallen in love with the daughter of his wife's doctor, who was some 19 years younger than him. He had left his wife, who was in and out of sanatoriums with tuberculosis. He had also left his 2 children, Helmut and Geisa, for the beautiful young Ilse, who had become my mother. She, with the olive skin, the dark wavy hair, and the clear brown eyes, set in a harmoniously balanced face. My father, slim, of medium height, handsome with his more angular face. Their perilous age gap tucked away. Mum's family opposed the relationship and cut all communication. My father was not yet divorced, so they departed for Shanghai, where they lived together at a time when that was not the norm, and it's surprising to hear how and when that popped up. They developed a successful architectural and interior design practice. Their brief, golden years. There are photos, one of Mum in a white coat with her collar turned up, and with a finely knitted beret tilted over neatly short brown hair. It bore the mark of a commercial photographer and has the word Shanghai printed under it, and was probably a wedding photo. Another of Mum, gracious in a rickshaw. My father by the sea in a shiny new convertible. both of them in jodhpurs after a day riding.